Welcome everyone to this explainer. So, have you ever walked into your house, maybe it's your guest bathroom or your kitchen, and been instantly hit by this lingering, just awful smell that absolutely refuses to go away? It's incredibly frustrating, right? You scrub the counters down, you take out the trash, but nope, the odor is still there. Well, today, we're diving into a very specific, totally relatable mystery. We are investigating the case of the phantom drain odor.
We're going to treat this exactly like a detective treats a crime scene. And your absolute best primary investigative tool, you guessed it, your nose. Before you reach for the phone to call a professional and spend your hard-earned money right out of the gate, let's learn how to read the clues your home has already given you. We're going to solve this plumbing mystery together by profiling the usual suspects hiding right there in your pipes.
So, the crucial point to remember here is this. The what and the where often narrow down the why. If we figure out exactly what kind of smell it is and where specifically it's coming from, we can almost always track down the underlying cause. Is it just one sink? Is it the whole bathroom? Pinpointing the location is literally half the battle. Let's start bringing in our suspects for questioning, shall we?
All right, let's bring in suspect number 1, the dry pee trap.
Now, this is usually the easiest suspect to interrogate. You'll frequently find this culprit lurking in guest bathrooms that don't get much foot traffic, or, right after you come back from a long vacation. To understand why, we've got to look at the pee trap. It's that U-shaped pipe right under your fixtures. Its entire job, literally its only job in the world, is to hold a small amount of water. That little pool of water acts as a physical block, kind of like a bouncer at a club, stopping noxious sewer gases from rising up through the drain line. But if that water evaporates, it basically acts as an open door for bad smells to just waltz right into your home.
Solving this first potential crime involves some incredibly simple, totally non-intimidating DIY. Check out step 1. Simply run the water in the affected drain for 30 to 60 seconds. Boom. That is often all it takes. But if the smell quickly returns, move to step 2. Pour a few cups of water or a sink-safe, lubricant-free water top-off directly down the drain. Doing this manually reestablishes that water seal, closing the door right in the gas's face. Case closed on suspect number 1.
Okay, moving right along. Let's dive into suspect number 2, the sludge layer.
If suspect number 1 was just a harmless open door, this guy is, well, it's a much grosser, slower-moving suspect, hiding just out of sight on the walls of your pipes. It's made up of a nasty lineup of everyday ingredients. We're talking food particles, grease, soap scum, and hair. Over time, these things combine to form this highly sticky, odor-trapping sludge layer. You'll usually know this suspect is to blame when a sink drains incredibly slowly or maybe it starts to gurgle at you. The odor is typically strongest right after you use the sink or the shower, simply because the fresh water stirs up all that smelly sludge.
So here is our tactical approach to removing this gross buildup safely and permanently. Step 1. Start right at the surface. Clean that sink stopper and strainer. Honestly, you'd be surprised how much hair gets caught right there. For deeper clogs, skip the harsh chemicals and go straight to step 2. Use a mechanical drain snake or an auger. You want to physically grab the clog and pull it out. Finally, step 3. Flush the line with a massive rush of hot water to clear out any remaining debris.
But what if the problem isn't a simple surface clog at all? Let's shift our focus to suspect number 3, the venting conspiracy.
Now, what's really interesting here is understanding how your plumbing is actually this incredibly delicate balancing act. Those pipes you see sticking out of your roof, they are vents, and they're there to balance the air pressure so wastewater flows properly down the drain. If those vents get blocked by debris or a bird's nest or even ice in colder climates, that air pressure is completely thrown off. The air can't move like it's designed to, so it physically pushes waste and sewer gas backward, directly into your home.
Next up on the interrogation list is suspect number 4, escaping sewer gas.
This one is our invisible suspect. Sometimes the gas is escaping even when the drain line itself is perfectly clear and the water is flowing beautifully. This tends to happen with older systems, joint failures, or fittings that have simply wiggled loose over the years. This is exactly where you, the home detective, need to grab a flashlight, get under your sinks, look around the base of your toilet. Do you see any unexplained wet spots? Is there a weird powdery residue forming near the pipe joints? Do you notice any cracking around the rubber pipe seals? If you see these physical clues, the gas is likely just slipping out through those damaged seams.
And then we have a twist in our investigation. Let's look at suspect number 5, contaminated neighboring drains.
What if the real culprit is actually a shared drain line? Or maybe it's a completely different nearby floor drain that you rarely use, but the smell is just drifting over. We can actually figure this out by running what we call the isolation test. You need to pinpoint the exact source. So check each drain completely individually. Run water in just one fixture at a time, wait a bit, and note which one changes the smell the most. This simple process of elimination pinpoints exactly which drain is harboring the trapped buildup, and it saves you from taking apart the completely wrong pipes.
All right, we've identified our suspects. Now we need to transition into interrogation tactics, the safe cleaning approach.
Listen, when you're doing plumbing detective work, the absolute last thing we want to do is destroy the crime scene or cause permanent harm to your pipes. When faced with a smelly drain, it is incredibly tempting to just grab a bottle of heavy chemical drain cleaner and pour it down there. But actually, scratch that. Harsh chemicals can severely damage your pipes, they create highly dangerous fumes, and amazingly, they can actually make partial clogs even worse. Versus mechanical clearing, using your snakes and augers, mechanical clearing is perfectly safe, it provides true long-term results, and it physically removes the actual blockage rather than just burning a tiny hole through the middle of it.
Finally, we've reached our last section, calling for backup.
Any good investigator knows their limits, right? We have to acknowledge that sometimes a home detective is simply out of their depth, and that means it's time to bring in a licensed professional. You'll want to keep this rapid-fire checklist of red flags in mind. If you experience actual sewage backup, extremely persistent gurgling that just won't stop, multiple fixtures in the house acting up all at once, visible leaks you can't tighten yourself, or odors that keep returning even after you've thoroughly cleaned them, call for backup. These clues strongly indicate a major venting failure or a deep structural issue that requires specialized tools like video inspection equipment or high-pressure hydrojetting.
We'll wrap up our explainer today by asking one final important question. What is your home's plumbing trying to tell you? You see, your house is constantly communicating with you through these little signs and smells. Remind yourself to just stop and listen to the clues. Is it a simple dry P-trap, or is it a much deeper venting issue? Take actions safely using mechanical tools, skip those harsh chemicals, and always trust your investigative instincts. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy sleuthing.